Jonas and Rob here, and today we want to show you how to shoot an interview and make it look like this.
We have 18 to 24 gates that are strung across a river.
We are in South Florida. This walkway is set up with 2 towers, one on either end, and there's this big bridge in between.
And not like this.
We get to, in some cases, fly a drone over the road and watch it cruise with us. That's always a good fun.
There's obviously all sorts of ways to get interviews looking awesome. You can have a studio.
Hey everybody, it's Rob.
You can have the light setup, makeup, a green screen, but a lot of times you're not going to have access to all of that. But you don't necessarily need to. We really wanted to show you how you can make an interview look really good using pretty basic equipment. Ready? Whether an expensive DSLR camera, or if you're shooting on a GoPro, which I am right now, or even on your phone. But there are a few key components to making your interviews look good. The points I want to bring up today are choosing a location for your interview, audio, and things to think about before you start asking your questions. All right, let's start with choosing a good location for your interview. Many times you will probably not have access to a fancy studio with light setup for your interviews, so we have to make the best use of what we have. And I think using sunlight is a great way to light up the person that you're interviewing. But there are definitely a few things to think about, so this is what I suggest. Placing your subject in full sunlight may not always be your best option.
Gotta get used to this real quick.
First, because it makes the image really contrasty between what is in sunlight and what is shaded.
So this is actually probably a pretty cool place to do an interview. You're up here, the sun is shining. The one thing you have to be aware of though is the contrasted face. You know, you got the bright sun here and it's a little bit dark here.
There are ways to burn out shadows. You can use, for example, a reflector of some sort.
And without. With and without.
You can get really cheap reflectors for less than $20, or you can even make your own using a white poster board. If you want to brighten it up even more, you can coat it with tin foil. The second thing about shooting in full sun is that the person will likely be squinting throughout the whole interview.
And what that means is you need to keep...
Plus, if there are some clouds, your exposure may change dramatically when a cloud passes by. When possible, I often shoot outdoor interviews in the shade where it's less contrasty. Right. If you are shooting your interview indoors, remember that the light from the window can really blow out the background. As you can see, it's much brighter outside now, and my face is probably not lit up at all. And if I was to expose for my face, the person I'm interviewing, the background would be really blown out. So I suggest that you spin things around instead and make use of that sunlight and use it to light up the person that you're interviewing. What you want the background to look like will depend a lot on how you want your interview to appear. If there's a lot of stuff going on in the background, it might be distracting unless that is what the interview is all about. Examples of other things to keep in mind are computer screens going into sleep mode, people can interrupt the shot, and wind can cause problems in more than one way. Background noise can also cause problems, like heavy traffic or passing airplanes. Alright, it's one of the audio things that we talked about. If you're near an airport, you gotta remember that there's gonna be a lot of background noise. It's gonna mess up your sound bites. Which brings me to audio. The on-camera microphone on most cameras, whether it being DSLR camera, a GoPro, or an iPhone, are not great. Pretty okay if you're close to the camera like I am right now, but as soon as you get far away, the audio is gonna sound a lot worse. Built-in microphones also pick up a lot of the surrounding noise. To give you an example, I was filming kayaking and canoeing at the US Nationals recently. This is a really great example to show you what background noise can do to your interview. So right now, I'm laved up. See this? I have a microphone on, which is picking up my sound, obviously all the sound around me as well. But let me show you what would happen if I turned off my microphone and just used the camera microphone. All right, here we go. So this is what my audio would have sounded like if I shot the interview without an external microphone. So if you have a chance to buy an external microphone of any sort, I think that's a really good investment for your interviews. It's going to sound a lot better and it's going to bump up the production value a lot. There are several different types of microphones to choose from, like shotgun mics or wireless lavs, but they can get quite pricey. But you can get pretty cheap microphones like this one I'm holding right now and actually plug it into your iPhone or your GoPro They don't cost as much, but they will definitely increase your audio quality by a lot. The general rule is to attach the mic somehow somewhere in this triangle close to the sternum. Make sure to try and hide it and the cords the best you can. If you're planning to sync audio from several recording units, it's a good thing to first slate or clap a recording at the beginning of the take.
Recording audio interview with Rob talking. Take one.
Every time you do an interview, I suggest that you do spend a little bit of extra time setting up the audio. It's going to help you a lot in the final production. This will definitely save you a lot of headache when you're editing up your video. Make sure you check out the other video we have in this series as well, specific to audio. No matter what equipment you're using, you still have to decide where to put the subject you're filming in the frame. And in photography and video, we often talk about the rule of thirds. And what that means is basically if we divide up the image like this, we often like to put the subject that we're filming in one of these crosses. And that's like a good golden rule. It's really pleasing to the eye and also gives a really nice symmetry to the image. So this is how I'm framing the interview with Nick here. I have him off to the side and looking across the screen. Rob is going to be asking the questions in this interview. Rob is standing just off to the side but still pretty close to the camera. You don't want the person asking the questions to be too far away. Then Nick here looks across the frame at Rob, looks a little something like this.
To hear the tags, we can cover more ground faster.
But there are other ways you can do it too. You can obviously have the person look into camera and talking like I am right now. But I feel that that's more of a personal approach, and it works better if the person is talking from heart and talking to the audience directly.
If you don't try, you'll never make it, that's for sure. That's the only thing for sure. So
you make your own luck, you make your own destiny.
The other thing, when you set up an interview, you got to make sure that you're not having the camera too high or too low. A lot of times what we see with beginners is that they tend to put the camera too high, which is given actually too much headspace. Put in a little extra consideration when you're framing and it's going to look a lot better. And one last thing. Before I start firing away with questions, I always prep the person I'm filming with some things I think could be good to know. First, answer with full sentences. Basically, avoid answering questions with a simple yes or no. I tell them to keep focusing on the person asking the questions and not think about the camera.
So I'm looking at you, right? Okay, all right.
I tell them that it's okay to repeat or redo an answer more than once if they feel that it didn't come out right. If you want to, feel free to repeat something over again.
Yeah.
I'm also mostly after short sound bites, so that's always a good thing to know. This of course depends on the film you're making. Add emotion and excitement. And as much as you can, keep your enthusiasm really high. The camera tends to kill excitement, so it's okay to exaggerate a little. And at the end of the interview, I always ask them if they feel that there's something they want to add that I forgot to ask. And then a little secret weapon is to keep rolling after they think that the interview is over. This is actually often when we get the sound bites that we end up using in the final video. I hope this is going to help you make really great interviews in the future. Remember that the interview is like the cornerstone of many videos. Remember, we're doing these videos as a collaboration with Our Rock project. And the idea is to give teachers and students the right tools that they need to make great videos. So if you have any teachers and students that you think could benefit from this, please send them the links that we have down here below and let us know what you think as well. We're really curious to hear what your comments are on these videos. All right, so check out the rest of the series and see you soon.